3 weeks ago, the Supreme Court handed down their judgment on this government's migration and economic development agreement with Rwanda. In that judgment, their lordships upheld the High Court and the Court of Appeal that it is lawful to relocate illegal migrants who have no right to be here to another safe country for asylum processing and resettlement. But the court upheld the judgment of the Court of Appeal, meaning that the government cannot yet lawfully remove people to Rwanda. This was due to the court's concerns that relocated individuals might be refooled, i.e. removed to a country where they could face persecution or ill treatment. We did not agree with that assessment, but of course we respect the judgment of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court also acknowledged that their concerns were not immutable, were not an aspersion on Rwanda's intentions, and that changes may be delivered in the future which could address their concerns. Today, I can inform the House that those concerns have been conclusively answered and those changes made. As a result of intensive diplomacy by the Prime Minister, by the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office, by the Attorney General's Office, and of course by the Home Office, we have created a situation which addresses the concerns. Our rule of law partnership with Rwanda sets out in a legally binding international treaty the obligations both on the United Kingdom and Rwanda within international law, and sets out to this House and to the courts why Rwanda is and will remain a safe country for the purposes of asylum and resettlement. This is a partnership to which we and Rwanda are both completely committed. Rwanda is a safe and prosperous country. It is a vital partner for the UK, and our treaty puts beyond legal doubt the safety of Rwanda and ends the endless merry-go-round of legal challenges that have frustrated thus far this policy and second-guess the will of Parliament. I want to put on record my gratitude to President Kagame, Foreign Minister Baruta, and the Rwandan government for working with us at pace to do what it takes to get this deal up and running, with flights taking off as soon as possible. Rwanda will introduce strengthened end-to-end asylum system, which will include a new specialist asylum appeals tribunal to consider individual appeals against any refused claim. It will have one Rwandan and one other Commonwealth co-president and be made up of judges from a mix of nations selected by those co-presidents. We have been working with Rwanda to build capacity and to make clear to those relocated to Rwanda that they will not be sent to another third country. The treaty is binding in international law. It also enhances the role of the Independent Monitoring Committee, which will ensure adherence to obligations under the treaty and have the power to set its own priority areas for monitoring. It will be given unfettered access to complete assessments and reports and monitor the entire relocation process, including initial screening to relocation and settlement in Rwanda. And it will develop a system to enable relocated individuals and legal representatives to lodge confidential complaints directly with the committee. But given the Supreme Court's judgment, we cannot be confident that courts will respect the new treaty on its own. So today, the government has published emergency legislation to make unambiguously clear that Rwanda is a safe country and to prevent the courts from second-guessing Parliament's will. We will introduce legislation tomorrow in the form of the Safety of Rwanda Asylum and Immigration Bill to give effect to the judgment of Parliament that Rwanda is a safe country, notwithstanding UK law or any interpretation of international law. For the purpose of the bill, a safe country is defined as one to which people may be removed from the UK in compliance with all of the United Kingdom's obligations under international law that are relevant to the treatment in that country of people who are removed there. It means that someone removed to that country will not be removed or sent to another country in contravention of any international law, and anyone who is seeking asylum or who has had asylum determination will have their claim determined and be treated in accordance with that country's obligations under international law. Anyone removed to Rwanda under the provisions of the treaty will not be removed from Rwanda except to the United Kingdom in a very small number of limited and extreme circumstances. The UK, and should the UK request the return of any relocated person, Rwanda will make them available. Decision makers, which both the Home Secretary and immigration officers and the courts must all treat Rwanda as a safe country. And they must do so notwithstanding all relevant UK law or any interpretation of international law, including the Human Rights Convention, the Refugee Convention, the International Convention on Civil and Political Rights 1966, the UN Convention Against Torture and Other Cruel, Inhumane or Degrading Treatment or Punishment 1984, the Council of Europe Convention on Action Against Trafficking in Human Beings done at Warsaw on the 16th of May 2005, customary international law and any other international law or convention or rule of international law whatsoever, including any order, judgment, decision or measure of the European Court of Human Rights. Where the European Court of Human Rights indicates an interim measure relating to the intended removal of someone to Rwanda under or purportedly under a provision of Immigration Acts, a Minister of the Crown alone, and not a court or tribunal, will decide whether the United Kingdom will comply with those interim measures. And to further prevent individual claims to prevent removal, the bill disapplies the relevant provisions in the Human Rights Act 1998, including sections 2, 3, 6, 7, 8 and 9. It is a bill which is lawful, it is fair, and it is necessary. Because people will only stop coming here illegally when they know that they cannot stay here and that they will be detained and quickly removed to a safe third country. Because, Mr. Deputy Speaker, it is only by breaking the cycle and delivering a deterrent that we will remove the incentive for people to be smuggled here and stop the boats. This legislation builds on the Illegal Migration Act that this House passed this summer and complements the basket of other measures that the UK government is employing to end illegal migration. The largest ever small boats deal with France, for example, tackling the supply of boats and parts, the arrest and conviction of people smugglers, and illegal working raids have all helped to drive down small boat arrivals, drive them down by more than a third this year, as the numbers are indeed rising elsewhere in Europe. Mr. Deputy Speaker, Parliament and the public alike support the Rwanda plan. Other countries have since copied our plans with Rwanda, and we know from interviews that the prospect of being relocated out of the UK has already had a deterrent effect. This will be considerably magnified when we get those flights to Rwanda. This treaty and this new bill will help to make that a reality, and I commend this statement to the House.
Order. And the usual rules apply that only those who have been here for the statement should stand to ask a question of the statement.
Well, there you go. That was indeed James Cleverly giving his announcement there on this new Rwanda bill. Let's cross the line back to Christopher Hope for immediate reaction from him. Christopher, now, unless my eyes deceive me, I don't think they did. I've got my spectacles on. Robert Jenrick wasn't on that front bench.
No, he wasn't, and Tory MPs now do think he may be on the way. Again, I'm looking at my laptop in front of me to check I'm not missing anything. We don't know the future of him at the moment. All we can say is we don't know his future. We don't know if he's resigned or not. Of course, the PM, Rishi Sunak, is there on the front bench. It's his big idea. He wants to show voters, GB News viewers, that he wants to match his rhetoric on small boats. He's had enough of them. Enough is enough with words, which is this Rwanda bill. The problem is that Suella Braverman has slightly held it below the waterline with that statement at 5 o'clock, friends of hers saying this will not stop the boats. Now, if added to that, Robert Jenrick resigns as immigration minister. Again, he wasn't there, and he wasn't there, crucially, next to James Cleverly when this bill was unveiled. That does speak volumes, I think, about maybe what he thinks about this legislation. He's not willing to be seen to be on the front bench presenting it, and he is the immigration minister. So we don't know what his future is tonight. We're trying to contact him for GB News viewers. As soon as we hear anything, we'll be the first to tell you. But it doesn't look great. And stepping back from that, all those warm words you heard there from James Cleverly, if the immigration minister resigns when it's published, and we know that he was trying to get a hard bill to try and make sure this measure can take place and happen, that doesn't look great. Now, Number 10 is very bullish. They say this is the best chance you've got. Labour hasn't got an answer on immigration, illegal or illegal, and of course they're right. There is not much Labour will say on this. They will say they'll reverse the Rwanda plan, and they'll say they're not sure what they'll do with lifting salaries, try and deal with the issue of lowly skilled migrants arriving legally, net migration legally. They're not sure not saying anything. So there's a chance here for the Tories to show that to the rest of the country they do care about borders and immigration, and they're willing to do something about it. But as things stand, it's not looking great. But they will carry on with it. Even if Jenrick goes, he's gone, this is what they'll try and do. And Number 10 is clear. These planes can take off in the spring with migrants on, newly arrived, for protesting in Rwanda. If that happens, it's a big boost for the Tories. But it's a big if tonight.
Let me ask you this, a pure speculation, but let's just say if Jenrick has gone, do you think we'll be moving any closer to, I don't know, letters of no confidence in Sunak?
Well, there is talk, Michelle, in Parliament that more letters are going in. I'm not sure what the point of letters of no confidence is in the PM, because no one is available to stand against him. There's no obvious candidate who can stand against him. If anything, I think that right-wing Tory MPs tell me, by putting in letters in to Graham Brady, if that threshold of around 50 letters is beaten, and then Graham Brady, the chairman of the 1922 committee, must then organise a vote of no confidence, it's almost to put a shot across the bows of the PM, to show him to reorientate towards where the party's grassroots are, the base. Don't forget, this Prime Minister wasn't elected by members of the party. He was really imposed by Tory MPs on the country. And there's an idea of legitimacy he's been struggling with since then. I'm thinking back to John Major in 1995 when he organised a vote of confidence in himself, if only to cement his authority on the backbenches. That option is open to the Prime Minister. He knows that the clock is ticking and there's no obvious candidate to stand against him. So if he goes with that, it's high risk, and it might present the country as a bickering group of MPs running the country, but it might be the best chance he's got to unite behind him and fight Labour.